Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to NoDQ Live here on Tuesday night. We are coming off the Raw pay-per-view TLC and the beginning of the build for Survivor Series. Of course, on Monday Night Raw, we had the big angle where the Smackdown Live crew showed up and raised hell. They took out the Raw locker room. Tonight, I was hoping we would see some sort of big follow-up, but really wasn't a very noteworthy show. I think the only newsworthy items from this show, first off, we have two team captains. We have Randy Orton, the captain for the SmackDown men's team, and we also have Becky Lynch, who is now the female captain at Survivor Series for the women. Thank you all for tuning in live. Thank you for tuning in on demand, whichever you prefer. Brandon says, what's up, Aaron? Doing good. Hope you're doing well, Brandon. No Raw invasion, and we have a few angry people in here about that. Yeah, no Raw invasion, but the thing is, in the storyline, that would have been too predictable. Raw getting revenge right away, and of course, they said on SmackDown that they had the security, they were prepared, and I think that's fine, but it just felt like this show didn't seem like that big of a deal. I think if you missed this week's SmackDown, you really didn't miss much. Randy Orton and Becky Lynch are the team captains for the SmackDown teams at Survivor Series. That's really all you need to know. There wasn't a whole lot on this show. We had a Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode promo to set up next week. Next week is going to be a 2 out of 3 falls match. Bobby Roode versus Dolph Ziggler. The winner will join the SmackDown men's team. Double J says it was boring. AJ was obviously on light duty, says Virtue. Virtue is in the chat room, by the way. Virtue Rage of NoDQ. Virtue's Rage, I should say. So make sure you guys be respectful and be courteous in the chat room, because Virtue can drop that ban hammer on you at any time. And I appreciate those of you that are participating and providing some good feedback about SmackDown. Next Law Legacy said, terrible main event. Who freaking cares about Orton and Sami Zayn? I thought the match was okay, but I sensed that Randy Orton was going to win since Sami Zayn beat Randy Orton last week in the tag match. It's the typical 50-50 booking. And Orton still won despite the outside interference from Kevin Owens. And by the way, good to see Owens on SmackDown Live this week. He did leave the SmackDown tour in Argentina and Chile due to personal reasons. And apparently everything's okay. So that's great to hear. Glad Owens was able to make it back on SmackDown Live this week. He's following NoDQ, by the way. I noticed that this week. I'm not sure if it's recent or not, but he is in fact following the NoDQ account and doesn't have NoDQ blocked. To my disappointment, this is going off topic a little bit, Shawn Michaels has my personal account blocked. Not NoDQ, but my personal account. And I really have no idea why. I did post a meme from a few weeks ago with Shawn Michaels making fun of Road Dogg, but I did not tag Shawn in it. So how did he even find out about it? Maybe he does the same thing everyone else does. He searches his name on Twitter, and anybody that says anything negative, he blocks. But it was a joke. It was done to make fun of Road Dogg more than anything else. But I'm not sure if that's the reason why. But yeah, Shawn Michaels, for whatever reason, has my personal Twitter account blocked. Psycho Jet Black says, is Dolph Ziggler overrated in the ring? I think Dolph Ziggler is a great performer. I think maybe the last year or so he's been maybe phoning it in more. I really don't know. You would have to ask him directly. But it does feel like, at least from what I sense watching on television, it seems to me like he really doesn't have that passion that he had 4 or 5 years ago. And let's face it, if you're Dolph Ziggler, I think you would feel pretty defeated by this point. The fact that Ziggler had all these start and stop pushes. He was the world champion at one point. He was the sole survivor at Survivor Series, and then nothing happened after that. I'd be frustrated too. I would lose my passion as well if I was Dolph Ziggler. So I don't really think he's overrated. I just think he's not really putting in the best effort. And I think this whole gimmick of making fun of the other talent is maybe Dolph just venting his own frustrations, the fact that he's the best performer in the company, or one of the best, but the company doesn't give him the opportunities that the other guys get. Or he does get the opportunities, and then they're quickly pulled away and taken away. Cody Rhodes is overrated, according to Ricky Lawson. You said it, not me. You might get some heat from certain people online, certain Bullet Club / New Japan Pro Wrestling fans. I've certainly gotten my fair share of criticism. Look, I think Cody Rhodes is a good wrestler. Is he a great wrestler? He's borderline. I mean, I think he's really good, technically. He's very technically sound. I like the mustache gimmick he had a few years ago. But is he a main event guy? I haven't seen it yet, but that's just my own personal opinion. I don't think Cody Rhodes should have been pushed as a main eventer in WWE. I think he should have been given something better than Stardust, but I wouldn't have made him world champion or anything. So for those of you that think Cody Rhodes, WWE should have made him the world champion, I do disagree respectfully on that note. But I think the guy's very talented. He's definitely extremely athletically gifted. And he's got the pedigree. He grew up in the business. He does have a feel for it. So the guy's definitely talented. I'm not going to put him down in that regard. I just don't think he's like top level talented. Just my opinion. Last time seen Cody Rhodes was Ring of Honor. Okay. Virtue says Cody is a big star, but only outside of WWE. Yeah, basically he's a big fish in a small pond. You know, he's doing well for himself on the indies, and good for him. I'm happy for the guy. I'm happy for anybody that can make a living for themselves and be able to do what they want to do with their own lives and have control of their lives outside of the WWE machine. So good for Cody, good for the Young Bucks. I'm really happy for those guys that they are able to succeed without WWE. I mean, WWE isn't really the end-all, be-all unless you want to be a big-time celebrity and you want to make the big money. If you really don't care about that stuff, you just want to do your craft and have fun and have your schedule freed up to do other things, then WWE is not the end-all, be-all. So it just depends on what you want. If you want to be on the road 24/7 and you want to be the big star, you want to have that larger-than-life persona, then you go to WWE and hope for the best and hope they don't screw you up. And that's really all it comes down to. But anyways, let's move back to Smackdown. I know there wasn't a whole lot from Smackdown. I'm trying to think if there was anything else I missed. You know, I did talk about Orton versus Zayn. I did talk about the women's match with Becky winning and becoming the team captain, which is fine. You know, on Raw you have Alicia as the captain, which makes things a little bit interesting. Becky hasn't really gotten much of an opportunity lately. It seems like she's been lost in the shuffle. So this is good for her to get back in the mix and have something significant to do. Oh, Ricky Lawson brings up the AJ Styles match. Waste of time. It feels like WWE is just stalling. I mean, my gut feeling is we're going to get AJ Styles versus Jinder Mahal. I'm going to call him Mahal from now on, just like Kurt Angle did on Raw. Jinder Mahal. It feels like that's going to be the Night of Champions main event, and WWE is just stalling for time until then. You know, this week we had AJ versus one of the Singh brothers. Next week he's facing the other one. And then, the week after that it's going to be AJ versus the two of them in a handicap match. Remember what I just said, because it wouldn't shock me if that ends up happening. And then eventually, after Survivor Series, you know, by the time AJ does all these matches with the Singh brothers, then they'll be able to start the build for the Clash of Champions, or whatever the pay-per-view is called. What is it? Clash of Champions? Night of Champions? Who knows? I wish they really had used the Starrcade name for that pay-per-view instead of just making it a house show, but whatever. Like I always say, it is what it is. Cooksy97 says, are Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable heels? I don't think they are. I mean, they are feuding with the Usos, so one would assume that they are faces at this point, but I really don't know. It doesn't feel that way based off of recent weeks of television. They seem to come off more like cocky heels to me, and maybe they would be better as heels. Usos, the thing about Usos is ever since they turned heel, they've been way more entertaining, and I feel like Usos could go back to being babyfaces now, just doing their shtick, because it's very entertaining. Travis says the Usos are tweeners. I mean, the Usos are extremely entertaining. Like the stuff, from the time they did that stuff with Daniel Bryan, and Bryan was rapping with them and wearing his hat backwards. I mean, the Usos have just been on fire. They really turned things around since turning heel. They're doing great. So when it's all said and done, Chad Gable and Benjamin might end up being heels by default. I have to say, when Chad Gable started doing the rapping on that backstage segment, I think like he was like Aaron Rift level white when he was doing that. And that's pretty darn white, folks. Just saying that. Oh, let's talk about Baron Corbin. Nathan says, what do you think about Baron Corbin's entrance theme? I definitely like it. I think it's an improvement over the previous themes or whatever songs he had before. With that being said, what is going on here? Baron Corbin versus Sin Cara? Why? Why are they doing this? Sin Cara, I still think WWE made a mistake breaking up Kalisto and Sin Cara. They had some mileage as a tag team, in my opinion, and it gave both of them something to do, and it was interesting. A tag team, luchador tag team. I think that they were broken up way too soon, and Sin Cara to me is just there. He really adds nothing to the show. So why is he beating Baron Corbin not once but twice? And again, it feels like WWE is just trying to drag something out and fill TV time until after the Survivor Series pay-per-view. That's why I felt this Smackdown was so flat. It just felt like a lot of the things on the show were filler segments. Yes, they did announce a couple of the captains, but that was about it. Other than that, this Smackdown was pretty flat. I will say I am getting more into Sami Zayn as a heel. It looks like he's keeping his old music, which actually works for his character, because his character... You know what I would like to see? I would like to see Sami Zayn and Enzo team up. The two annoying cockroaches. The bug that flies in your face that you want to get rid of, but you just can't seem to get rid of it. That is what I would like to see at this point. A Sami Zayn and Enzo Amore tag team. CC Drink says, I like Raw better. I agree with you. I definitely feel that was better. Psycho Jet Black says, how old are you? Favorite band? I am 34, and favorite band, if you watch NoDQ video enough times, you should know my favorite band, because I usually only wear one band t-shirt. For those of you in the chat, you can go ahead and say it. I'm sure most of you know that watch the videos regularly. What band shirt do I wear all the time? That should answer your question. A little shot at Virtue. We're getting a little off topic here. I do like System of a Down, and Tyler got it with the Beatles, not Backstreet Boys. I just wanted to say, Virtue, Rob Zombie's Halloween sucks. Worst idea ever. Worst horror reboot of all time, in my opinion. Terrible. So, there. That's a little shot at Virtue. You guys can argue about that in the chat room. Let's get back to wrestling before this gets too off topic. Yes, Jason. Trash movie. Totally agree. I'm waiting to see what Virtue has to say. Well, so far he's been silent. Do you like Nirvana? Nirvana is extremely overplayed. I mean, I like them, but they're like the most overplayed band of all time. Oh, Virtue says, take off your shirt. You don't deserve to wear a horror t-shirt. Virtue is a huge fan of the Rob Zombie Halloween reboot. So you guys argue with him. If you agree with him, then I disown you. But anyways, you can argue with him. Let's get back to wrestling here before we get too far off topic. Although it seems like you guys are enjoying the music and horror movie talk. Yeah, I thought Raw was definitely the better show this week, although that's not saying much. Rio says Brock Lesnar versus Jinder ? Yeah, they're doing that match, and if it was me, first of all, I wouldn't even be doing the match. And now that they're doing it, I think Lesnar should destroy Jinder, but then it just buries the WWE title, and Lesnar winning is foolish. Really, I think the only way to book this now is to have Cena as the special guest referee. That's something that's been rumored the past few days. Have Cena as the referee, and Cena, perhaps inadvertently or perhaps on purpose because of Jinder being a total prick, Cena screws Mahal out of the match, and that sets up WrestleMania. Don't want to see that at WrestleMania, but WWE, they're going full swing ahead with their plans for WrestleMania, so whatever, just do it. To me, that's the only way you get out of this now, out of this Brock Lesnar, Jinder Mahal match. That's the only way you really advance the storyline without making anybody look too weak. You have Cena as the referee, Cena screws Mahal, and that sets up Cena versus Mahal. Other than that, I have no idea how to book this match and get it over with the fans and elevate both guys. I'm not even sure there's a way to elevate both guys. I suppose if Cena screws Mahal, then it doesn't hurt Mahal anymore. But I don't see this match helping both guys. And I don't even see it helping one guy. I mean, I really think this match is going to just be a downer and move both down the elevator in WWE. The over and under elevator. I think they both go under in this match. Just my opinion, though. But I think some of you, I think a good portion of you actually do agree with me on that. What should I do if Jinder wins clean? Oh, man. I don't want to do that because I have this feeling it could happen. I'm not going to rule it out. I'm not betting anything on that. I'm only going to bet something that's actually going to benefit NoDQ.com. I was stupid to do that WrestleMania bet with Zack Ryder because Zack Ryder winning did not do anything for NoDQ. If CM Punk appears at Survivor Series, I will dye my hair orange and do a video with orange hair. I promise you that. If it ever happens, the day that CM Punk returns to WWE, I will dye my hair orange and do videos with orange hair. 100% guarantee. You can save this video. You can save that clip for posterity. I will keep that stipulation forever. Forever and ever. If CM Punk returns to WWE, I will dye my hair orange. And I will do videos with orange hair. No DQ video, no DQ live, everything. I will do all the videos with orange hair, at least for a full month. I'll give you that. A full month of orange hair the day CM Punk returns to WWE. Because that would actually boost traffic. That would help. That would be awesome. You know, for all the hype about Kurt Angle coming back, oh, Jason says, who are the captains? Randy Orton and Becky Lynch. And now I totally forgot what I was going to say. So thanks a lot, Jason. Thoughts on Booker T's commentary? It sucks. Very badly. Will Reigns be part of the Raw team? I don't know. It's possible, but they may play it safe and hold off on him. Ricky says Kurt Angle possibly on the Raw team. Again, I think WWE is going to save Angle. If Angle wrestles again, I think it'll be saved for WrestleMania. My guess is Samoa Joe will be back as part of the Raw team, and that will be a big surprise leading up to Survivor Series. One would think that, at least, that Samoa Joe's going to be on the team, especially if Braun Strowman is facing Kane, which is another rumored match. Raw will invade SmackDown on the go-home show. Yeah, I could see that happening. I could see there being a delay where WWE waits, or Raw doesn't show up until the last show, and it's teased for several weeks before it finally happens, and then the final show, you just have a crazy brawl with everybody fighting and just everything being torn apart. That would be a really solid go-home show, actually, to set up the pay-per-view. Travis says Booker T is worse than Michael Cole. Booker T is so bad, the announcers cannot even keep kayfabe. I mean, usually it's Byron Saxton that is the butt end of all the jokes, but this week, I mean, Cole and Corey Graves are like, Booker T is so bad, and they could not help themselves but make fun of the guy and just bury him on TV. Booker T is so off. Like, everything he says. I mean, I love Booker T, but his commentary is not up to par with what you would expect on the premier wrestling show in the world. I don't know if he should be fired, but I mean, it's just a sign that WWE really doesn't have anybody better. They're really lacking good commentary guys. Bringing back Jerry Lawler is not the answer. Jeremiah Dorset says, fire Booker T. What was Booker T's final match in WWE? Wasn't he in a Royal Rumble recently or a couple of years ago? Beyond that, I don't remember his last match. Felipe, I'm not sure how to pronounce the first name. Did you like Taz as a commentator? I enjoyed Taz during his WWE run, not so much in TNA. I thought by the time he got to TNA, he was a shell of his former self. Just, I really didn't like Taz that much in TNA. Kayfabe Candy Ass says, stop overproducing the commentary, so robotic, no character. Agree. Guys, Kayfabe Candy Ass is one of the most intelligent guys that watch NoDQ videos. So when he says something, you guys got to take notice to that. That guy knows his wrestling. And by the way, he's also smart enough to get a NoDQ.com t-shirt, which you guys can get at ProWrestlingTees.com. Search NoDQ. Check out a link in the description box to pick up a NoDQ shirt. Kayfabe just posted his shirt today on the NoDQ Twitter feed. Check that out and get a t-shirt if you haven't already. Vince Out of Touch McMahon, when is NoDQ CAW returning? Well, first of all, WWE 2K18 needs to be out on Switch, Nintendo Switch, before I can even consider bringing it back. And I have no idea. At this point, there's been no release date. And by the way, somebody actually sent me screenshots of Nia Jax on WWE 2K18, and it looks terrible. The graphics look awful from what I've seen from that game. I've never been a fan of that game engine, you know, the stuff that's been released, the 2K18 and just the 2K series in general. I've never been a fan of the gameplay. I haven't been a fan of the graphics. I just haven't been impressed with it. I think I did play like 2K13 or 2K14 a couple of years ago, and I was not impressed with it. I feel like Day of Reckoning had better graphics. So I wish they would go back to the game engine that was used for No Mercy on N64 and Day of Reckoning. But then, you know, once they started doing the 2K games and you know, they released 2K13 or whatever it was on Wii U, it just wasn't the same for me. They just need to revamp the whole system, in my opinion, and do something different. I just don't think the game, and from what I've heard, the game has a ton of glitches. It's extremely glitchy, and then they're working on fixing that. But I guess maybe it's a good thing that they're waiting for the Switch game to be out with all the glitches. WGWI says, who plays video games anymore? Well, apparently some people do. There's always going to be a market for video games. I just wish, you know, they would be better quality instead of just... It feels like it's a cash cow every year. You know, you take the game, you add a new number to it, you make a few little tweaks, add a few new characters, and that's about it. There's really nothing else to it. Dominic says, do you follow Lucha Underground? I've said this before, I'll say it again. I watched the first season, and I watched the premiere of the second season, and then I had enough. Lucha Underground is not for me. I didn't like it. I didn't like the style of the show, doing the little movie vignettes and that sort of thing. I really wasn't a fan of Matt Stryker's commentary as a commentator ever. Not in WWE and not really in Lucha Underground either. And not really a fan of Vampiro either. Just, it wasn't connecting with me. Lucha Underground wasn't connecting with me, so I gave up on it. I know some people like it. It definitely has a cult following, but it hasn't really caught on with a mainstream audience. Otherwise, they would have a guaranteed fourth season at this point. Travis W says, it's sports entertainment though. It didn't connect with me. I give them credit for trying to do something unique and different, but I could not get into it for whatever reason. Just did not catch on with me. Aaron reminds me of Drew Gulak. Ouch, man. That's brutal. Are you still mad about the whole Halloween thing, Virtue? Just saying. What happened to Kid Cash? I watched your old interview. I believe he went into MMA, I'm not sure what he's been doing lately, but I know he was doing some MMA fights, and I don't know how successful he was, but he went on to do that after WWE. What's the point of Orton being captain if he didn't attack Raw? Because Randy Orton, as Michael Cole said, and by the way, okay, I get it. Tom Phillips is on assignment, a.k.a. he got married or whatever he's doing. But Michael Cole being on the Smackdown announce team after doing commentary on Raw when all the Raw guys were getting beat down, it's so unbelievable. It just ruins the whole thing for me. The fact that Michael Cole is there doing commentary. It totally just defeats the purpose of this whole invasion and doing Raw versus SmackDown. They could not bring in more Ronaldo for this, or even Jim Ross, or anybody. They really had to bring in Michael Cole when they're trying to sell Raw versus SmackDown. This is awful. Whose idea was this? This was stupid. It just ruined the whole thing. Yeah, Travis, apparently he got married, from my understanding, but why he's gone 2 weeks, maybe he went on a 2-week vacation, I don't know. But the more Phillips is gone, the better, in my opinion. I just think, you know, if they were doing this Survivor Series pay-per-view, it would have made sense to actually keep Michael Cole off of the show and bring in somebody else. Braden says Virtue needs to get another shot at Jeff on Wrestling Trivia Challenge. If Virtue wants to do it, I think Virtue's perfectly content watching from the sidelines. By the way, so I do have a few announcements regarding the channel. First off, Greg Cherry has somebody lined up for Jeff Meacham. The guy that actually prepared Greg for the match where he actually did defeat Jeff, that guy is going to be challenging Jeff. We could very well see the end of Jeff's title reign. That video will be going up later this week, maybe Friday or Saturday. Here we go again. Chris May says I should challenge for the title. You guys just will not let it go. You keep bugging me about it. You keep wanting to see me get involved in the trivia. It never ends. Another announcement regarding this particular video, NoDQ Live, this series. There will not be a NoDQ Live next Tuesday. I'm sorry, guys. No NoDQ Live next Tuesday night. Instead, there will be NoDQ Dead. Next Tuesday night, Halloween night, NoDQ Dead. What does that mean exactly? You'll have to tune in and find out. NoDQ Dead next Tuesday night. Yeah, I wish I had a hot date next Tuesday, but I will be home next Tuesday. That's how lame I am. I will be here with all of you for NoDQ Dead. So stay tuned for that. Wrestling historian, have you ever taken a bump? I have taken quite a few bumps in my time. I have lost a few brain cells from taking bumps, so, you know, I have taken a few hits over the years. Kayfabe Candy Ass says, I would have gotten all the music trivia questions right. I'm not sure what he's talking about. Somebody just said Jinder will be appearing on NoDQ Dead. He might as well. I mean, NoDQ Dead should be dedicated to all the worst gimmicks in the history of wrestling. Chris Mace, have you ever had a wrestling match? Not in a wrestling ring. I have had wrestling matches, but not in a wrestling ring. Ricky Lawson says, Bound for Glory predictions. What are the matches for Bound for Glory? I'm not even sure at this point. It's Eli Drake versus Morrison, right? I think that's the main event. And my feeling is Morrison will win the title. Alberto El Patron is coming back, which is like, bleh. Seriously? So, get this. I did a poll on NoDQ.com. I asked people, would you like to see Alberto El Patron back in TNA? Overwhelming response, no. So, of course, they bring him back. Of course they do. It's TNA. People say, you got to stop calling them TNA. They're Impact Wrestling now. No. Until they stop being TNA and doing TNA things, they do not get that right to be called something else. When I give them free market research, look, Fans do not want this guy back. They do not want Alberto back. So you bring him back anyways, despite the free market research. 100% free research for you guys. They still do it. That makes them TNA, and they will forever be TNA until they stop acting like TNA. That's my take on it. Psycho Jet Black summed it up nicely. TNA is a zombie company. They manage to stay in business and never die. They somehow keep coming back. You think they're buried 6 feet under, they keep coming back. And I hate to say it. I hate to say TNA should die because I don't want to see people lose their jobs. But let's face it. The guys working there, they're not making a lot of money to begin with. It's not like this is some kind of dream job that is defining their lives, you know? It's a paycheck, and for some guys, they're lucky if they even get paid from what I've heard. So, it's not like... I don't even know what else to say about it. NoDQ dead all TNA episode. There you go. That would be very fitting. So again, next week is NoDQ live on Monday night. We will be live on Monday. I will be live with all of you. And then Tuesday night, it's NoDQ dead. First ever NoDQ dead Halloween night. So for those of you, all you kiddies out there trick-or-treating, once you're done with that, you know, I do this 7 o'clock Pacific time, 10 o'clock Eastern. You should be done with your trick-or-treating by then. Tune in for NoDQ Dead. Maybe you could do trick-or-treating and watch at the same time. You could multitask. Tune in next Tuesday night for NoDQ Dead. And, of course, Monday night for NoDQ Live. And I will be back next week. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate the viewership. We will see you next time.